And we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm super excited to have the one and only Dani Hampton joining us today. Dani is an amazing agent out of Fort Worth, Dallas area. So I asked her today to come join us, just kind of talk about our journey a little bit, share a little bit about our business. You're absolutely crushing it right now. I'm inspired. So we're going to talk about this. And then also, you just joined us at Real, which is so fun. So I want you to chat about that too. So everybody, give up for Dani. Welcome her. So Dani, tell me a little bit about your journey, like how long you've been in real estate, why did you get into real estate, all that jazz.
Okay, well, I will say I got into real estate 10 years ago. I was only 22 years old, which I think is crazy. I like look at 22-year-olds today and I'm like, how did I get into real estate at that age, right? I'm like, there's no way. So I got into real estate at 22. I've been doing it for 10 years, but over the last 5 years, I've been building my real estate team. And I think the reason why I got into real estate was probably because I realized how much I loved working with people. So I was definitely a people person. And I always loved sales. So I felt very inspired about being like just driven to earn more. So I love the idea of just being able to have like a limitless income kind of thing. So definitely felt like that's what drove me into real estate. And of course I bought my first house at 19. So I got to experience the transaction before I got my license.
That's amazing. So I got into real estate at 22 as well. I didn't realize what a baby you are. You're so young. Oh my gosh. I love it. But I actually got in opposite of you. I got in thinking it was going to be easy and that it was going to be my little side hustle that I would make. I'd have some babies and make a little bit extra money to bring into my household. I had no clue what I was getting into and also like what it was going to turn into. So
I don't think I had any idea. This was legit the conversation I had with my husband when I decided like, okay, I want to go get my real estate license. I was a leasing agent at an apartment complex, and I made probably a whopping $15 an hour. Plus I got like $100 or $200 for like leasing apartments. And so I think I really brought home like $30,000 a year. Yeah. And Josh was just like, okay, listen, can you at least make $30,000 a year as a real estate agent? And I was like, well, I mean, I feel like I see all these agents making like, good money there. They drive Lexuses. Yeah. So I was like, I think I can make that much money. And he was like, all right, I give you 6 months. Like he was like, I give you 6 months. If you don't show me that you can consistently make this type of money, then we might need to go look at going back into a job. We know you're going to get a paycheck.
That's cool. So I tell people this too. Man, I feel so fortunate. I got married very young as well. And I feel fortunate at the time when I got into real estate that my income wasn't substantial when I got into real estate. Same thing, I was cutting hair. That I had that backup. Like I had somebody else's income that I could go into it without that crazy pressure. Because if I would have had that pressure, I don't know that it would have been as fun as it was, like the fact that Josh was like, you're good. You have 6 months. Let's figure it out, So
I got my license in March that year. I had my first transaction close in July that year. And so it was like closing number 1 happened in July. And then I had 7 in September.
That's awesome.
And so we started to realize I'm kind of good at it. So, it just felt like it kind of dominoed from there.
Yeah.
And then I believe just kind of as the progression of my career, I feel like I got to see the ins and outs of other real estate teams throughout my first 5 years. So
did you start on a team or did you start solo?
So I actually started on a team.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people tell me to go solo, but then I kept telling them I'm 22 years old and all of my friends are broke. So why would I go, try to prove to everybody to buy or sell a house with me when they all can't afford to buy houses. So
Yeah.
I'll just go work with the agent who I know has the business coming and they're established.
Mm-hmm.
So I joined a team. I definitely really bought into the team culture early in my career. I think it just took working on, I only worked on 2 teams before I decided to go off on my own. Because when I went, I had 1 year solo. It was just me and a transaction coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I closed 50 houses by myself, and I had no.
If you're not in real estate, that's a shit ton of houses by yourself. So congratulations.
Thanks. And I tell people all the time, if you probably didn't hear from me the year of 2017, there's a reason why, because that's when that year happened. And so after that, I realized how I needed the leverage and I needed to add people to my team. And so since then, been building up BHG.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. So our journeys are a little different, but I started on a team. I'm a huge fan of a team too. Like, I don't care what age you are. I think like the team provides so much value and structure and lead generation that it's just silly. I just think it's silly, like for anybody to like start without being on a team. It's incredibly hard, Okay, so let's talk about this. So you're at DHG, you decide to start your team, you're crushing it. And so let's talk about your team journey. So you how many homes are you guys going to sell? What does your team look like? All that jazz.
So right now we just went from a team of 8 to a team of 12, 13 now. We just had 5 agents join us since our recent brokerage move. And we are on pace to sell 60 million this year.
Awesome. Super impressive. The agents you're bringing on, like, what do you think has like spiked that increase of agents coming on? You being intentional about it, or?
Yeah, I would definitely say, I think that having more of a strategy behind just being more transparent about what we do on our team to help our agents be more successful and like giving them all the tools. So I think really sharing all of like the tools that we have and the additional accountability. And I've had a lot of agents ask me questions of like, they see our growth and how quickly we've been growing this year. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, what are you offering? And I'm like, honestly, we're just being a lot more open about what we're offering. And a lot of people thought accountability didn't sound like something that they're looking for. But I was like, every agent I'm sitting down with and meeting, they're like, I need structure.
Oh, yeah. I actually made a social post about this the other day about even like our kids going back to school, like the structure, that creates, like we need it at every level. I say this, if anybody ever hears me speak, I'm like, I'm so grateful that when I got into real estate, I had no clue that the environment I was putting myself on this team gave me the structure and the accountability to be successful, because I don't think I would have made it. Like, I truthfully don't. Like, I don't know that at that time I was driven, self-motivated, knew what I was doing. Like, and so I say this just in terms of like, people freaking need you, right? Like they need what you have to provide all day long. So.
Well, and I kind of felt like, honestly, even the year that I was by myself, just me and a TC, and my TC, like we didn't really work in the same space. Like she worked from home. And I realized like I needed that accountability, and honestly, like having a team to report to, like even if it's my team, like I have people who are counting on me. Yeah. So it's kind of funny how like it works both ways, because I know that I need to show up every day because I have a team that depends on me. Yep. So it's definitely a win-win.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I'm at the office ready to go, where if I didn't have anybody to depend on me, I probably wouldn't. Right. So I mean, yoga, closing it up and whatever. So I wanted to dive into your real thing, but I want to hit on really fast, like, and I think to provide value to the audience here, like you're a master at working with your SOI through social media. Would you agree with me?
Yes, if someone was to ask me, which actually Mike was asking me this, he was saying, what is your, like, the secret sauce? What is the stuff that you can speak passionately about every day? And this is how you got where you are. And I'm like, it's definitely how I engage with my social media and how basically I built my sphere through social media and building on those relationships.
Yeah. So what's a piece of advice you'd give an agent that's wanting to do that? Maybe like 2 or 3 little tiny nuggets, because you guys, so I met Dani through some of our coaching, and then we become friends, and I follow her on the gram. I know her and her husband, and she's part of our inner circle, and we share now the same mutual coach. Like, it's been really fun. And but I watch you on social media, and you are really phenomenal at it. Like, I sent your example the other day to somebody of even just your office, like, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what would you say, like, 1 or 2 little nuggets you would give an agent that's wanting to grow a social platform and get their business from it?
Well, I think we all heard it as far as like, it really is consistency. I was telling my agents, just not even my agents, but like the agents that I talk to and network with, that I'm like, you should see what my social media posts were 10 years ago. You guys, it was ugly. It was not pretty. The pictures were not filtered. But I showed up every day,
Yeah.
and I was trying to explain to them that at the end of the day, it's that I'm showing that I'm human and that I'm a person. I'm not just constantly putting up a post and saying, are you ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?
Yeah.
People want to work with people they like, know, and trust. So I was like, allow them to get to know you. So I kind of feel like you have to, in a way, operate your social media like you're an influencer. But you shouldn't be fake. I feel like you should try to show them what makes you you. So, like, I love sharing like my home life, my family life, but I also love sharing like my dogs and things like that, because people are going to connect with me when they see that there's something that they connect with me, like if they have dogs or whatever, right?
Well, here's the thing, like, for everybody watching this, think about who you're attracted to on social media. You're not attracted to like their random templated post or just listed, just sold. Nobody gives a shiz about any of that. Like, they're attracted to your lifestyle and who you are and your family and what you got. Like, I mean, I know from social media you have a badass Jeep and a super cool house, and you have a really rad commercial building that you just moved into. Like, that is your real life. And so I just challenge some of these agents. Like, I see what some of them are posting, and I'm like, man, you are posting the most boring shiz. And it's because they're posting a just sold or just listed or a really ugly house. And not saying every house has to be beautiful. I'm not saying that, but nobody wants to see double wide you have listed. Like, it's like, if you're going to post a house, like, post something that's magnificent. So
Well, and I feel like most of us have Canva. We all see the same templates. So, every once in a while, for some branding purposes or for your grid, right? Like, to make the grid pretty. I have some aesthetic people out there, but I'm like, people just really want to connect with other people. And that's what they're scrolling social media for.
yeah.
So, I just feel like I'm always pushing on, just be human, show those sides of you, so that way it creates conversations.
Yeah. Well, the person I'm the most attracted to on social media right now are Jesse Itzler and Sarah Blakely, which, if you watch their social media, they're like not curated. There's no filter. It's just like, I'm sure I know they have social media people, because I've been in places with them. They literally have somebody with their phone, like, videoing what they're doing. And I know it's them posting, and they say it. They're not trying to act like it's them posting to social, but it's so authentic and just like real life that I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is what I consume. So,
Exactly.
so you just got a big change in
Yes.
your world. So let's talk about it. So Dani, has been a rock star. You've been in a brokerage, I don't even know how long. And it was funny because you came into my world, and I don't, just so you guys know, like I am the biggest fan of Real Broker that there is. Like it's changed my life. It's changing my family's life. Like it is one of the best career decisions I've made. And on that note, though, if you come to anything I'm doing, I don't really talk about it because I don't want it to be that you're coming to a bait and switch, meaning like you're coming to my office and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, let me give you this little pitch. So I just don't talk about it because I want it to be something that if you're intrigued, you're going to ask me about it. And that's kind of what happened, right? I actually like heard through the grapevine, they like, Dani's thinking about Real. I'm like, okay, we should probably talk about it then. So you decided, let's walk through this progression because you came in and then like, what made you intrigued and what made you think like, hey, I want to explore what this looks like?
So I know it probably was like 2 years ago. I'll be really honest. 2 years ago, I felt like there was changes needing to happen in my world, and I really wasn't sure exactly what that was. And that's exactly why I went down the path of coaching. But then I started really figuring out all of the little pieces, and where I saw the environment was a huge piece, right? Like how your environment, who are you surrounding yourself with? And since last year, I am a podcast junkie. And I just realized how many people I was following or like listening to all of their podcasts. And then they were all like, we're at Real and we're at Real and all this stuff. And I was sitting over here going, maybe I should check out what Real is about. And then of course I'm like, well, Spring's at Real. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at all these things and I'm going, learning everything, obviously going through your coaching, being in your world, but just even here, seeing everybody else thriving and they're all under Real. And I'm like, all right, I think there's something worth looking at. And I knew that if I was going to change brokers, because I will tell you the little stuff, the logistics, right? Like signs changing, like it's so it's a little the little stuff that adds up that I was like, if I'm going to make a broker change, it better be something that's going to make me level up.
Yeah.
So I just realized how all the people I was following and including just you, like you and everybody else, I was like, all right, that's where I want to be because especially the other thing, I know that you didn't really ask this, but we were talking about it, is when I was thinking about that brokerage change, one thing being important to me was like the environment. Is it going to be a place that's going to help me grow? Is it going to help me create that network that's going to increase my net worth, right? Yeah. I shared what you shared the other day, and I just had someone tell me, they're like, you said that, and my mind was blown because I was sitting there going, I better look at my network.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's true. I mean, you become, regardless if you're at any stage, the top 5 people you hang out with, right? And so this environment starts creating a really big ecosystem of people that your network becomes larger and who you surround yourself with. I'll tell you, like, I don't think I know, I'm 2 years deep into this, and my social world, my business world, my everything is just expanded, my network, because of the environment that it creates. And so it's been really fun. So you made the decision. You also, like, going virtual is a challenge, but yet can be cool too. So let's talk about what you did, because you have a team. So you're like, hey, I'm going to go to Real Broker. So what did you decide to do?
So I will tell you, I was nervous about that because I feel like I piggybacked off my last broker with having like a brick and mortar, right? Yep. So it was nice to have a brokerage that had a nice building and had office spaces. And so having to make like a physical move where I knew my team needed somewhere to go to, and I was like, uh-oh, that's a big girl step. Like I got to go actually lease a commercial building. So, but then I was sitting here going, yeah, but that's what I'm working towards. Like I want to fill bigger shoes. So I was really excited about this. And I feel like the virtual side too was, we're already virtual, right? Like we're on social media.
Yeah. That's the key to this, like two parts. Like I always look at Real, like Real provides a lot of really cool things, But it really ultimately at the end of the day is the infrastructure to run your business. So it provides the broker and the accounting and the tech and all those things that you get to go be Dani. Like Dani gets to be the BHC group at Real Broker and run her own business, but have somebody else deal with all the liability and the headache and all of that.
Right.
I would say the thing about the brick and mortar, like I personally, and not everybody's going to agree with me on this, but to run a team without brick and mortar is hard.
Right.
Like, I just don't know how you don't like have a brick and mortar to have the accountability component of it. I mean, we have brick and mortar too. I mean, I think you've been to my office. Have you been to CC?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, you came to CC Mastery. Yeah. So I mean, I'm a believer in it too. And honestly, those little things push you when you're like, I got this lease to pay or a mortgage to pay. You're like, I'm gonna make this shiz happen, you know. So
I was sitting here going, you know what? I have this mindset of what's old me and what's new me. And I was like, the old me would be like, but I already have an office space here and they pay for the electric and the water or whatever, right? And I was sitting over here like, no, I will get over it. That's old me. New me can step it up and have an office building where I have to pay all the things.
yeah.
But we have a really big vision. And I was even telling someone about this too, because they were asking me about real and they were like, ooh, virtual, I'm not sure. And I told them, I was like, yeah, but what I realized is when you are a virtual company like this or a cloud company is you kind of have to have your shiz together on, because you support so many people from across the country. It's not just the people who are showing up in your little ecosystem to your office. It's you're across country. So I feel like you kind of have to have more put together. And I just feel like there's so much more opportunities, especially like on the like teaching side and the coaching side and all that, where it's like, I love that collaboration culture.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love what you just said. I call it Dani 2.0. What is the future Dani look like? And the future Dani is like, I got this. Like, it's a lease that I have to pay. Okay, what does that really look like? This model is really cool to what Dani's talking about. If you guys aren't familiar, there's a rev share component. And so you can make revenue share from the agents that you bring into the company from across the country. So like Dani's in my network. And so when she sells a home or her team sells a home, I end up getting some type of compensation from it. And she's in Dallas and I'm in Utah. And it's cool though, because we're collaborating, we're growing, we're teaching classes together online. You guys maybe saw yesterday, we did an event in Salt Lake City. Dani, I didn't have her come because it's freaking far flight. But when there's one that's close, then it will be like, hey, let's have you teach people how to crush social media, Mm-hmm. And so it's just a really cool place. I would say this, the thing that I love about it, and I think you would agree with me on this, is that when I grow, you grow, and when you grow, I grow. And so it's a mutually beneficial relationship that everybody's just cheering each other on of like, let's freaking grow and collaborate. And it makes it really fun. So
like if I win, right? Like if I win, you win. It's all around. And it's kind of even how we talked about the way we operate with our teams. Like if I didn't have a team showing up to an office, maybe the old me would come out and say, I don't feel like, getting dressed up and going somewhere today. I'm not going to show up to the office space I'm paying rent for. Yeah. But there is skin in the game and we want to see each other win. So I feel like being in that environment with our brokerage is amazing. But I already talked to so many agents from across the country anyways. So I'm like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of the same world? Versus being in brokerages that I almost feel like you're competing because it's so divided because they are city based.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I don't believe a brokerage makes or breaks you, but I definitely think it helps. And I will tell you, like, the traditional brick and mortar brokerage, in my opinion, is very archaic. Like, because you're getting trained oftentimes by the person who's in your office that's like doesn't have any more exposure than what's happening right there, where this model, like, we're being trained from all over the country of like people actually doing it, right? Actually,
Well, I'm following all the Canadians right now. I'm like sitting over here, like, what are they doing over there in Canada? Like,
yeah, yeah, they're doing some cool stuff, right? Like
yeah.
their videos and stuff. I'm like, damn, I need to step up my video game, right? Yeah, same, same. The other thing that's cool is like it's really forward thinking. So even down to like I was messaging you the other day about this if you were coming to Rise because um even our keynote is Alex Hormozy. Like he freaking broke the web last week with his pitch and everything. And it's like, man, Alex, like for us to be able to have like not their traditional, like, oh, we're gonna just have our agents get up on stage, like they're forward thinking of like, let's bring in people that can help these guys grow that aren't necessarily real estate because let's face it, a lot of real estate is marketing and innovation, and you've got to market to be able to get the leads and to get the clients and whatnot. So um last piece of advice, if somebody's thinking about real, what would you tell them? And then putting you on the spot, so
Oh, okay. Let me actually, I love it because my phone just started ringing. So clearly I'm still in an active role in real estate. Where did I go? Where did my page
oh,
go?
I can see you, you're good.
You can see me? Okay. So my piece of advice is, I don't know. I think it's like always good to be like open-minded. And I feel like sometimes like when you're in that mindset of going, am I being in a fixed mindset or am I in a growth mindset? And are you truly thinking about your future? And I'm like, since over the last few years, more and more things have become online. And I just started realizing that I was a little stuck in that mindset of feeling like I needed to be in like a brick and mortar. But I'm so gung ho on the whole idea about you're going who you want to be, who your future self is, who your 2.0 is. You need to look at your network and who you're surrounding yourself with and who you're being influenced by. And that's exactly what the move I made. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, how are you doing it? And I'm like, I'm just realizing what world I want to be a part of and what my vision looks like. And I'm just putting myself in that position to be around those people who are living that life.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I would say everything she just said and more, like it is a big component is the network. I'd also say you have to hang your license somewhere. So hang it somewhere that you have the community, you have the growth, but you also have some financial opportunities as well. Even if you don't want to participate in revenue share, which I think is a massive missed opportunity if you don't, but if you don't, participate in the stock matching program. Like it actually, it's like a real company where if you put money in, they match a certain part of it and it goes in your Morgan Stanley ShareWorks and you can start building a retirement, So there's just like, to me, it's a no-brainer. Dani, I'm grateful that you took the time out today to meet with us. I'm grateful that our paths crossed. I'm grateful that you're in my world at like the ridiculously high level, including Brill. Like it's just so fun and we're growing together. I would say if anybody wants to grow with us, like we're inclusive. We love people. We love anybody who has a growth mindset that wants to grow their business. Reach out to Dani. She and I can get on a Zoom with you, walk you through what it looks like, the different things. But yeah, we would love to grow with you. And Dani, I'm just super grateful to be growing with you.
Yes, thank you. I honestly, same thing. The paths crossed. You shared your story. My story, I felt like matched a part of your story. And I was like, yeah, this is who I need to follow. So I'm so happy to be here and be in your world. And now I'm really excited to see what our life looks like a year from now.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I'll end it with this. I was at Inman and I was with Rill. We have growth ambassadors and we got in the room and Sharon Shrivata, he said, he's like, you guys just aren't thinking big enough. And when he said that, it was like a little bit of a gut punch because I'm like, you're right. Do you know what I mean? I was like, gosh, you're right. There's always that next level, and I'm ready to go there. So, yeah, it was great. I'm ready to go there, and I'm ready to go there with you. So
Awesome. Thank you.
go take care of your clients. I love
Okay.
that someone was like, bing, 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 bing.
I
And
know.
no, that's me too. So much love to you. You guys, if you have
Yeah.
any questions about Real, reach out to myself or Dani, and we'd love to connect with you.
Awesome.
Yeah.